turned tanks into flaming torches. Even the American soldiers he had seen looked more like robots than human beings. Perhaps Amjad was right. Saddam shouldn't have taunted the Americans. Major Emmet Portman banked the A-10 Warthog gently away from the tanker's left wing, while Razor, his wingman, edged his hog forward and connected to the boom just vacated. This CAS, Close Air Support Airborne Alert shit, had been dragging on for what seemed like hours. Portman hoped they wouldn't get the call. The weather down on the deck was crap, gusty winds, rain, and thick smoke haze from blazing oil wells. The only reason they were flying tonight at all was that General Glosson had made it clear to the Wing King that weather aborts were no excuse. Buster Glosson had also made it abundantly clear that ground forces were to be supported at all costs, and the wing commander knew better than to do anything other than salute smartly and say, "3 bags full, sir." The VHF crackled to life. "Slam 2-1, Moonbeam." Damn it, Moonbeam. The ABCCC, the Airborne Battlefield Command and Control Center, orbiting down near Q8. He and Razor were getting the call. The command informed them that they were in for a little BAI, battlefield air interdiction, an attack against hostile land forces not in contact with friendly troops, but close to them. Razor backed down and away from the boom, his offload complete, then maneuvered onto Portman's left wing to make room for the next flight in the line. Minutes later, they were approaching the coast, passing FL-120, 12,000 feet. Portman pushed the Warthog hard over when he judged the waypoint was reached and began the descent through the undercast. He checked his airspeed. Somewhere below, approaching at around 320 knots, was the Iraqi army, while behind and below him were probably Apaches, AC-130 Spectre gunships, more Hogs, Strike Eagles, Vipers. Damn, it could really be crowded down there if the target area was as lucrative as it sounded. No doubt other flights were already probing forward and engaging the head and the tail of the column. Those Republican guards, if that's who it was, were in for a hell of a fright, and their nightmare was about to go from bad to get my precious goddamn ass out of here. Portman played briefly with his air conditioning controls before giving up, sweat rolling down his neck. The crew chief had sworn the problem was fixed, but it wasn't. One of those gremlins that came and went with no apparent cause. Emmet waited until the altimeter wound back through 5,000 feet, and then did what he'd been doing whenever he drew this jet. He opened the vents and unclipped one side of his oxygen mask. The air coming through the vents was refreshingly cool and damp, though it smelled of burning crude from the oil fires, something he wished he could get used to. At 3,000 feet, the flight broke through the haze. "Jesus," Emmet said aloud, stunned by the unexpected spectacle below. On the billiard table of the Kuwaiti desert was a highway crammed with vehicles heading northeast, hundreds, maybe thousands of vehicles, their headlights burning bright holes in the night, a conga line of stars. It reminded him of the Vegas Strip on Saturday nights. The Major continued the descent toward the brilliant column of moving light, leveled off 2,500 feet above it, and selected the infrared display from the Maverick missile located on Station 8 under the right wing. The missile's imaging infrared nose camera magnified the picture on the road and delivered it in glowing white on black to the video screen on the upper right-hand side of the instrument panel. The picture on the screen was clear enough to make out individual vehicles from beyond 3,000 feet. And the picture told him there were trucks and flatbeds that were obviously military down there. The overwhelming majority of the vehicles, though, were civilian. So this was the Iraqi army heading home, giving up on its occupation of Kuwait. It appeared that Saddam's finest had grabbed anything they could find to drive home in. They'd probably also stolen everything that wasn't nailed down to make the trip with them. Emmet glanced behind his right shoulder and caught the glow of Razor's panelescence, which made the aircraft appear a ghostly green. He called the turn, then banked hard right and crossed the highway at right angles before banking again, another crisp 3G 90-degree turn, heading for the section of road allocated to him and his flight by the Moonbeam folks. Dalil saw the unearthly glowing green shapes moving low and fast against the black sky,